All right, guys, we are back with episode 9 of Wheel of SNES. This week we have drawn the Family Feud. So just a little background on Family Feud. Here's what the box says, Josh. Get ready to participate in the wildest feud since the Hatfield McCoys. Over 4,000 new survey questions taken right from the hit television show. Play alone or with up to 9 friends. You battle family against family and guessing the top survey responses from people across the country. This all-new version for the Super Nintendo features the fast money and bullseyes rounds from the newest television format, brilliant graphics and authentic theme music and sound effects. Don't just keep up with the Joneses, beat the pants off of them with the new Family Feud. And note, it literally says pants off of apostrophe EM. Beat the pants off of them.
Okay.
So I feel like that brings a little bit more to the table right there. I mean, you're mentioning Hatfield McCoys. I mean, you're throwing everything out here.
My question is this: how you got 9 players now? I thought each team...
We will come to this later, Josh.
Okay.
This is in here a little later.
Okay, I didn't know the back of the box, but 9 players. I mean, every time I played it, both teams had five family members.
Well, it says play up against 9. Let me see. Play alone or up to 9 friends. So it's actually saying it's a 10-player game.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Okay, so this game was released by GameTech. Feel like we've hit the major. I mean, you throw Wheel of Fortune in there, and we pretty much covered all the games. GameTech did Jeopardy. Definitely think this game has that same top feel.
Yep.
Even if they were, you didn't know who produced it, there's some similarities there. The game was released in 93, so it is kind of right in the middle of it. And that's pretty much a whole lot for like who developed it and all that. I mean, GameTech, that's what they did. And they were pretty good at it, too, from, they found their niche. I mean, they released other games, but, definitely kind of the game show top, television to video game thing was what they specialized in. In my opinion, I think that's what they did best. So if you've been, Family Feud's been going on for a hot minute.
For a long time.
If you don't know what Family Feud is about, basically they poll 100 random people and ask them questions and record their answers. Then the families are asked the same questions that the pollsters were asked, and they're awarded a point value based on how many people gave the same answer. There's a showdown mode that basically pits one character from each family when asked a question, and the contestants with the highest answer has the ability to play or pass. You get 3 tries if you decide to play, and then the other team has an opportunity to steal. So the first team to get to 300 points gets to play fast money for the grand prize. And I like I say, not this game, but the show's been on for so long and had so many hosts. I just feel like you've had, even if you get on your Facebook or on TikTok, you see the funny answers with Steve Harvey, or he's the current host.
He's the best host.
And
let's get it right. He's the best.
Now, obviously, I'm not sure if it's Richard Dawson that is who they're kind of modeling the. The guy has it's the guy after Richard Dawson. I feel like that. Combs, maybe.
I think it was.
But he does have a pretty good resemblance in the game. That you can obviously tell that's what the sprite's really based off of. That's pretty much Family Feud in a nutshell. And just to be honest, it's kind of a fun party game. It's actually been on I ain't gonna say it's been on every system, but it seems like I know the Nintendo had a system. This one was released on Sega and Super Nintendo. It's been released on PC. I have not looked. It ain't going to blow my mind if it's been on PS4 or Xbox. I bet PS5 will probably end up getting a freaking version of it of some sort. There's probably a mobile phone version. It's a very successful game. I consider the Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortunes like the 1A, and the Family Feud would be like the 1B. A good game show. Maybe not on that level, but not far off of it.
See, I think that, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune are your top tiers. But now, I think with all the other game shows out there now, because, you got the Game Show Network now.
Yeah.
and everything like that. So I think I'd move Family Feud up into that 1A category now because
it's definitely a name brand game show.
I'd put it right up there with Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. Family Feud would be the top 3 game shows. I think they're all top tier. So,
which a lot of times you could say that a game show is as good as its host, but this is one of those where they've had good hosts, and Steve Harvey I think does a great job. But this game show is strong enough that when Steve Harvey's going with it, they'll find another host, and this game will keep going on, this game show. So
Drew Carey.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Drew Carey, Price is Right did him dirty, man.
They did.
He just looks like the crypt keeper now.
Yeah, because at first I would put the Price is Right up there as a top tier game show, but not anymore. It's not good.
I feel like Bob Barker
is rolling in his grave.
He's stealing the life force from
from Drew,
kind of like Bubba Hotep. He's probably sucking it from their buttholes. And,
yeah.
But anyways, we digress. So that's basically the thing of Family Feud. Now this game, just go into the controls and some of the graphics. I mean, it's pretty basic graphics. It's a game show, kind of like Jeopardy. There ain't really a whole lot you got to do. You see, the game boards.
You get.
Yeah,
you get what you get.
This, I don't think the set has changed a whole lot back from the first Family Feud. So if you can actually, peg those graphics in, you're gonna be good. Now the game is pretty basic for your controls. I mean, you've got basically push the D-pad or hit a button to buzz in, and then it's kind of like Jeopardy. You got to roll across the text to enter your answer.
Gives you 60 seconds. Solid.
And they do have options. I think you can pick 1-player, 2-player practice. You can turn on and off the main theme music, the think music, the timer, and the bullseye round. And, to be honest, for a pretty simple game, that's more options than we've got on some of the other games. Like, that you would hope that some of the other games would have had these options.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just had extra space, if they're just trying to get their money. I don't know why they had so many options, but it was
because
okay.
It didn't go in the graphics.
But
it didn't go in the graphics, story, or anything like that.
And at the end of the day, I was fine with the way, we'll get into a little bit of the game modes, but, I wouldn't want to turn off the main theme of the show. I mean, unless I played 100 games of it, maybe it would get old, but it's like, that is Family Feud music.
Yeah, that's iconic. That's what you go with.
I bet if you hate the music to Family Feud, you probably hate Family Feud, and it's probably you, not them. It's your problem.
It's not a Family Feud problem. That's you got to justify your life choices at that moment.
So before we get into anything that's make it or break it, Josh, is there anything you want to add about Family Feud or anything like that?
Only thing I got to say is because we played this against each other for our first go around. Beach blanket. That still irritates me more than it should.
What was it that you'd put? Towel?
Yeah, beach towel.
Okay. Well, all right. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the make it and break it part of this, and we'll start with the make it part. And I feel like, I don't want to sound redundant, I feel like this is going to sound a lot like the Jeopardy edition that we did, episode, I guess.
I agree.
I think one of the things I said was the best part of Jeopardy is it's classic Jeopardy.
It done it right.
This is classic Family Feud.
Yep.
It is Family Feud. If you've ever watched the game show, you do not have to ask what the rules are. If you've never seen the game show and you've lived under a rock and you played this game, you know exactly how the game show's played.
It works very well, and you could learn it in a couple of seconds.
And so, I mean, you're getting exactly what you pay for on this. And, so, I mean, like I say, if you hate Family Feud, I don't think you're going to think, hey, this game might have something different that I might know.
No, absolutely. It's Family Feud. If you hate Family Feud, you would hate this game.
So, one thing that was, other stuff that was really good with it was the controls were pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple, pretty crisp.
I mean, you have all these buttons. You don't necessarily need them all. All you got to do is be able to ring in against somebody and enter in some text. I did feel like I was kind of like old school razor phone, punching them answers in,
stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, this wasn't T9. It was, you were going all.
You had to go all the way across, but
I felt like I was hitting that number 2 button 3 times to get down to a C.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was great, and the thing about it is, dude, this was the it's a good party game.
Right.
Like let's say our first time we played what, 3 rounds, I think. And at first it was me and you, and then we brought your wife into it.
And she's typically into Frogger. That's her game.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, we're playing Family Feud. You want to come answer questions for both of us? And she brought her own chair down there, and she's sitting in the man cave having a time.
Yeah. And it was also fun because on 2 players, it turned into a button smashing competition. Like the whole like you could buzz in before the question was even finished, and as long as you answered dog, apparently you would get it right.
Well, I do have that in one of my favorite things because, like in the show,
it was great.
When you buzz in, he stops reading the questions.
Yep.
So I cannot remember exactly what the question was, but I was trying to get a jump on Josh, and so when it came up, it says name an animal, and
that was it.
And I rung in, and it didn't read the rest of the question, and boy, I felt like a dumbass. And so I just enter in dog, and it popped up.
Yeah, safe bet.
And it came up, and Josh, I think, was a little pissed off, and I felt like a boss about it.
Your wife even got mad at you over. She called you a lucky bastard.
I think that was the peak of this game for us because it was pretty ridiculous, just like the show. To get back to a couple of things before you really get into the, main gameplay for me, I like the controls were very simple. It's easy to learn. It's a pro. It didn't really do a whole lot for me because I knew, after you played this game for, 4, 5, 6 games, it's the same game over and over, but there was a code to enter if you was a returning champion. Now, when we were playing it back to back, and I was just on a 3-game heater, it kept up with my, it knew that I was a returning champion, real, I guess. But it was cool that, if you were actually trying to, like I told you in Jeopardy, is like, I want to see if I can get the high score on the board.
Yeah.
You could do that. You could see who could have, I guess it's basically just having a high score mode there.
Yeah, just keep going and everything like that. My biggest thing about it is still one of my favorite aspects of it is that, like I said, it did let you keep track of everything, but you at least got to enter in a name.
Yes.
And
one thing that was cool about entering the name is the names of the families was cool. So I think we put George and Josh on ours.
Nope, I put PHG.
Okay. And you could literally name them what you want. And with this being a game from 1993, some of the names that I would want to enter would be completely inappropriate, and it would make me giggle, to be quite honest. So, you could enter in legitimate names, or you could enter in the idiot family, or you could enter in the goof. You had limited characters that you could use, but one of the families that I was looking online because there is a huge there's a lot of gameplay of this on YouTube, believe it or not. I was just wanting to see some of the other stuff that was out there, and there was a lot of people reviewing this, which lets you know there's a lot of people love this game. And one of the and they had all these crazy names, and one of my favorite names that I could see me entering in 1993, and I still think it's funny now, so I would have absolutely loved it then, was his family was the Shaftcock family.
That's pretty good.
And so, I just feel like you could have the badges versus the wings, you
Front
could do,
nugget, man.
Yeah, so, making the names they were cool. You kind of got generic family members. Regardless of your ethnicity, you might be Latino or black or Caucasian, or, you didn't know what you were going to be.
But yeah, like I said, it did not have a censor mode on the names like most games now.
Yeah, and also the screen I guess you would say the heads-up display. Basically the main screen is just like the show. You have your 2 guys or 2 people up there, and the pass or play round, and you buzz in and it hits the scoreboard, I guess you would call it, is what it is on Family Feud, where the answers are. And, man, they captured that part perfectly on there. Even when when you chose to pass or play and they went to the family, when you answered, it would throw it back up to that scoreboard and see, if your answer was up there. And if it wasn't, you got the big X, just like on the TV show. It was pretty simple, but it was super effective. That's exactly how you watch the TV show, and it it worked flawlessly. One thing that I did like with some of the options was the bullseye round. I vaguely remembered it. I wasn't a fan of that. I like that you could turn that off. Now, we didn't turn it off. But the bullseye round was the only thing I felt like messed with the flow of the game. I was thinking it might be lightning round, but basically what it was just like 3 or 4 answers before you even really started the game. They axed that off. I think that was in the game for a few years, and it's not part of the game anymore. And that kind of killed the flow a little bit. But the ability to turn, I mean, it wasn't like it was a deal breaker, but having the option to turn that off or to play it, I did enjoy.
Yeah, it was just, what was it, like the top 2 answers or something like that, or whoever answered the question with the correct verb or noun or adjective or whatever got those points that round.
But in any of the game modes, when you answered and you hammered it out, it was just like TV. It was kind of like the survey says, and it goes up to it.
Ding!
And it was just like, man, they captured the essence of this game show.
They did.
And I will tell you one thing, the sound effects were on point. The ding of the answer, the X, the music. The only thing that I felt that was a little out of place was the think music. I don't think there's any music in the actual game show. It's just silence. And that part I don't think was accurate, but the music they picked to be the think music actually flowed with it.
Yeah, it wasn't off-putting. It wasn't like circus music or anything like that. It actually went with it.
Yeah, so. You didn't notice it, and if they didn't have, I mean, it could be the actual think music from the show. I don't think it is, but it was close enough that it would make me question that.
Yeah.
And I would say that we talked about how, if you hit the button, it answered earlier, or you had to answer it with the partial question. I did have that marked down as one of my final things because that was probably the funnest part. The game was pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's family. We all like Family Feud, and I really got only one more thing that I think really made this game, and it was my favorite thing. So I'm going to save that for last. Do you have anything that you want to add with it, Josh?
Like I said, one of my favorite things about it is, like I said, it was a party game. And I don't know how many questions, on Jeopardy, they told us how many unique questions was out there. And on this one here, I had a feeling that maybe, like I said, if you played it 6 times in a row, I don't think you would get the same questions.
It says on the back of the box, it actually told us this. It said over 4,000 new survey questions.
So, okay, that's awesome.
So, Game Tech, that's one of the things they did good when they made this game. They realized,
longevity.
Well, we ain't got to worry about a whole lot of graphic stuff because, what it is what it is. That's going to be the same in each game.
Not a lot of moving parts.
But we can store basically text files.
Yeah.
All this on this cartridge, just like, at the time this game was coming out, we were storing text files on 3.5-inch floppy disk. You know, they were 1 or 2, 3 megabytes each.
But if you watch old anime, they would blow up the world with that floppy disk. Right.
But it was kind of cool because they did make the most of what they had. They knew what they needed for graphics. And then, 4,000 questions. I'm not fact checking that. I'll take their word at it.
I'm not playing at least 4. I'm not going to play it at least. Well, see here. You'd have to play that roughly about 500, 600 times before you hit the 4,000 mark.
Now, I might play lightning round or fast money 4,000 to get to 4,000 questions. I do in my opinion, that's the best part of Family Feud.
It's always fast money.
Do you have anything else you want to add, Josh?
No, that's about it.
Well, when you touch on it being a party game, this is the best part of this game, and it's a strong one. You can play it single player, you can practice, or you can play it 2-player. But the one thing was, even if we weren't playing against each other, you could participate. Like my wife came down here, was participating on both of us. When we were battling against each other and we got to the lightning round, it's not like you're not going to answer the question. You scream at the TV like you do when you're watching TV. And, it would have just been a dick move if I said, I'm the winner. I'm playing both rounds of the lightning round. No, I played the first round and I handed it off to you to play the second one. So you literally have a game that whether you're playing one player or against each other, you still you include everybody like a true party game.
And I don't think the other, like, I could have been a dick and put nothing on all of them.
Yeah.
But no, I actually wanted to see.
So even though we were just sitting here playing this goofy game from 1993, there were 3 grown-ass adults, maybe not mature adults.
Nope, absolutely
and,
not.
I think the only reason we stopped playing was because we're like 3 games in, like 45 minutes or an hour, and we had other stuff we had to do. I mean, I don't think that anybody didn't enjoy what they were doing, and everybody felt included. And when you would put towel up there, and it wasn't there, even though I thought towel should be there, and then it popped up beach towel, I was able to get a laugh at your misfortune.
Yeah, because
or I could say that's a crap answer.
Well, okay, hang on. Let's wrap that up because that's on the break it part for me, real quick. It's just that thing. Like I'll explain it.
So this is this is all I've got to make it. We're going to jump over to break it. I've got a few things to start before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, but apparently Josh has got something on his chest to talk about. Josh, hit me with... Okay. Or are you saving this for your big break it moment?
This is the big break it, but since we've already voiced it, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Like I said, I'll lead with my bid break it, and you can save yours for last.
Okay.
My bid break it is that on the game itself, the question was, name an item you take to the beach. Okay? This went through both of us 4 times before you finally got it with something. But you had to do, like, what's something you take to the beach?
I'll take a beach towel.
Beach towel. Beach ball. Something like that. Okay, I agree with that. But it already said beach in it, in parentheses. So
Have you never took a beach towel with you?
No, I've never taken a beach towel.
I don't think you've ever really truly enjoyed a beach until you've had a beach towel.
Or a beach ball.
Maybe a beach ball.
Beach blanket.
Maybe a beach sandwich. I'm done. I ain't got nothing else. I got nothing else.
I mean, I can keep going, but it's just going to get even dumber. But no, you literally it said, what would you name an item you would take to the beach in parentheses? So by my logical thinking process of somewhat college education, I'm like, okay, it's already got parentheses around the word beach, so I'm just going to put ball, towel. No, you're an idiot. So you had to put beach in front of it, and it took us 4 times to figure that out. With your goddamn beach blanket.
Now, I will say that, yes, the game is dated. The questions are from 1993. So that is definitely a con of this game, is because we're here in 2022, and, I don't do the math. How many years is that, Josh? It's a lot, It's a lot. So trying to answer some of the questions, I guess you can't really fault it for the questions that was there. There's no DLCs. There's no updates for it. But also some of the answers like that, some of the questions is a little tough, just like in the Jeopardy, and just like in the Jeopardy 2. Just kind of a product of where we were in the world, and we're probably I know we're a lot of bit spoiled. The gameplay I felt like was pretty slow. I mean, the whole game itself felt a little sluggish, from answering it to going to the rounds. It was good. There wasn't a whole lot of animations to cloud it up, just kind of like Jeopardy. And it had a lot of the same feel. Like, I felt like a Jeopardy game should go way quicker than that. I felt like, I don't know, I mean, maybe when we played a game of Family Feud, what did it take, 15, 20 minutes? Felt like it should have probably took like 8 to 12 minutes.
I agree. I think, and again, it's from that where I don't want to say we're more evolved or anything.
Well,
we're used to it. We're faster at typing stuff now instead of actually having to hit. I think if you would taken that 60 seconds in the entering part, just like Jeopardy, if you would trim that down to like half, I think it would move it along faster.
And plus some of the processing speed of the new systems, I think it would go a lot quicker. But man, could you imagine playing either this or any of the Game Tech games and somebody taking like a full 60 seconds to enter in their answer?
I'm punching them in the mouth.
I mean, that might be a damn 2-hour game.
Yeah.
It might be a 2-hour game. And to go into the animations, Game Tech was a whole lot better at developing games than they were trying to animate games. And I think they knew that.
Yep. They knew where their eggs lied in the basket.
And I will tell you one thing, and I kind of laughed at it. I almost put it as a pro because it entertained me. But really, the only animation I really noticed, other than the fast money, the answers would come up, and I thought that was super crisp. I should have put that in the pros.
It was
and
really
when the
X's would show
yeah,
up,
when the answers would roll around. But the most god awful animation in here, I guess they just, I don't know, was when either the team won, the family won, or when they're introducing him and the team are clapping. It's like their elbows are stuck there and they're just it looks so unnatural. It was humorous. It was so unnatural.
Was straight up walrus clapping at that point. That's what it was.
Oh my god, walrus clap. I wasn't ready for that.
It was great walrus clapping at that.
I don't know the last time or if I've ever seen a walrus clap, but it would definitely have looked just like that. Oh my gosh.
And they weren't even in sync either. Like, they were all clapping different, which I understand why they done that, I guess, because, you're not everybody's going to clap at the same speed, but it was so just bad. It was just so jerky, and it just looked horrible.
I did not, that was definitely it wasn't the worst part, but it was very noticeable. In the Jeopardy game, I hate it when the answer's wrong. They gave you a frown or like a little smile. I probably enjoyed bad clapping better than bad face animations.
I agree.
But I mean, I can at least laugh at these where the Jeopardy ones pissed me off every time I've seen it. And plus, at least the family shows up like a family would normally look. In Jeopardy, I told you one of my big problems were, are you going to show up with your damn golf bag on your shoulder like you just came off the back nine or something? Or so the families did look proportionate. I will say that.
I agree with that, but still, I'm still, since you brought that, I got to defend Jeopardy. It's sports edition. I thought, like, okay, yeah, bringing the equipment with them's a bit much. But if you were a baseball player, I understand wearing the uniform.
The uniforms don't bother me. It was just
it's the equipment.
The equipment, yes. I mean, we know you're a hockey player. Do you really need to bring your hockey stick in there? But
I would wear my goalie mask.
Well, would you enter your name as Jason Voorhees?
Probably.
Okay, fair enough.
Or Casey Jones.
Oh, Casey Jones, that's a good one. I was thinking of Slapstick, the damn one, the brother from Slapstick.
Oh, I can't think of his name.
All right, so I've only got two more things. The bullseye mode for me was weird. I didn't like that. It was true to the game, but that's something that nowadays I barely remember it, and I had to think about even, like, I don't remember it 100%, but it seemed right. But it wasn't my favorite thing.
I don't remember it at all. I thought it was just something they added in there.
And it killed the mood. I think, I don't even know what I think about it. But the one thing that it just didn't feel natural. But they did give you the option to turn it off. Now, in the games that we played together and the ones that I did on my own, I didn't turn it off, so it wasn't that big a deal, but it killed the flow.
I experienced the full game in the fullest, so I left everything on. I didn't adjust any of the settings. I took in consideration of the settings, which was really nice that you had that ability, but no, I played the game as it was intended, was to play the entire game the way it should be.
So probably my biggest flaw with this game was, sometimes when you brag about something, you should have to back it up. You should show your work.
I agree.
If you say you're the best in America, 9 out of 10 dentists, what dentist are you talking about? I mean, sometimes like you can say stuff. So it boasts that you can play 10 players. Now, this is on a Super Nintendo, Josh. How many ports are on a Super Nintendo to play?
2.
Yes, there's a multi-tap that I really don't think there's a whole lot of games. There may be just like a single-digit games. I don't know. I never had the multi-tap. I didn't ever have that many friends to play with, but I know there's very few games that can play a multi-tap. But I'm pretty sure the multi-tap, from what I remember, would plug into one of the controller spots and give 4. So you'd have a total of like 5 players, maybe 6. So
that's what I was about to say. Yeah, I think it gave you a total of 6 people.
So in today's thinking, you're like, hey, we're going to have 10 players, we're going to have 10 controllers. So let me just go ahead and spoil it. This is going to make sense. So they're going to say we've got 10 players because there is 5 family members on each.
You hand the controller on.
Yes. So literally, it is at most a 2-player game. You can have 10 people. Does Mario Brothers... There's 2 players in Mario Brothers. Do they say you can play up to 30 players? Well, by Family Feud math, You could. You just got to have 30 people you can hand the controller over
Just
to.
keep going.
You know, I mean, you have a family reunion, maybe that's 70 players that could play. And
Why
I'm
do you
like,
think my family's 70 people big?
I know. And so I felt like that was a bullshit call to say 10 members. You should say 2 controllers, up to 10 people can participate.
2 teams of 5.
Exactly. So I bet you when in '93 when you said 10 players,
How many people?
mind blowing.
How many people bought multiple multi-taps at that point to make it 10?
Well, I think the multi-taps were out after this was released. Might have to fact check me on that. I would say that there probably wasn't a whole lot of BS called on this, but just because it's 2 controllers and you can pass it along family members, there's a lot of games you can do that with. Don't say you got 10 players.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Hey, the other night when we played for an hour, we could have had up to 30 players playing. You know, it could have been all them families.
We could have played 3-player Super Putty. By that reasoning.
Yeah, what was Super Putty? You had like 3 lives. You could technically play 2. Yeah, you could have like 9 or 18 players.
You
Super
could.
Putty. So that I didn't like. I felt like you lied to me, Game Tech. Family Feud, don't you drag that in here to me. That to me was
it was a stretch, but
that aggravated me. And it wasn't even like the game itself once you got in it tried to say it, but the back of the box was talking. And so the only thing that would make me question is when they say they got 4,000 questions, is they also said they had 10 players. So is it 400? I mean, you know, it just kind of makes you think about it. Now, like I say, I'm not going to fact check any of that. It's just I felt like I was kind of a little bit lied to. So that part was pretty bad. But other than that, I mean, like I say, the game was exactly what it was supposed to be. I don't have anything else that I really hated about this game, Josh. Do you?
No, that's about it for me. Like I said, my biggest thing was the beach towel. Beach ball.
Now, before we get down to some fun facts and some price charting, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you I've got a few Family Feud stories. I do remember back in the day, not on the Super Nintendo, but we actually played Family Feud on a computer. And we were, mid-20s, and we would come over and it was updated answers, and we had a keyboard, and it was literally each side of the keyboard. And we would make people, we plugged up to the TV, and you actually went down and you hit the button, and it would... And man, we had a great time with it. And this game, I could see doing the same thing with this game other than the questions weren't updated. But man, I have various party settings where like people in the house, it wasn't uncommon to have 8 or 10 people, 6 or 9 people show up. And there was either 2 games we were going to fire up. We were either going to fire up Family Feud or we were going to fire up Mario Double Dash. And, a lot of what we would do would be the guys versus girls, or these 2 couples versus these 2 couples. Yeah. And so that is one thing that, I mean, Family Feud, classic game show. And I was just like, when I was playing this with you, it kind of brought back a little bit of, nostalgia. There was definitely nostalgia. Now, this was in, probably like 2006, 2005, we were playing this updated version. But man, it was good. I could see us actually playing this game and passing a controller around playing 10 players, you know. But I was just going to add that in there. So
here's my fun fact for you: they do continue to make Family Feud games.
Been made, and I think, I mean, it's kind of like the Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortunes. The games don't really change a whole lot themselves. There's slight nuances, but. There's reasons why these shows have been on TV for 30-something dang years.
Because they know the formula. And they know what works.
And I can understand why somebody say they I like Jeopardy a little bit better than Family Feud. But if you want to say, why do you not like Family Feud? I can't really give you an answer. I don't dislike Family Feud. I just like the other ones better. You know? And it's the worst of the better instead of the better of the worst.
See, here's my thing. Don't get me wrong. I love Jeopardy. I love Wheel of Fortune. I love Family Feud. My hierarchy is this right now. Family Feud takes number 1 in that setup because of the host. If Alex Trebek was still alive, Jeopardy would be number 1.
You're right. Steve Harvey is. He's probably. I'm not going to say because I mean everybody can pick who they think is the best, but Steve Harvey is pretty freaking good at it.
He's hilarious at it. And then also, I mean, and Wheel of Fortune is because Pat Sajak is an unaging person now. I don't think he's changed age since like the late 90s.
I like it when he got, somebody said, I think he came clean and said, yeah, I drank and showed up to set drunk. And everybody was like making a big deal. And it's like, look at some of the dumbasses he deals with. Why wouldn't you? I mean, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure somebody showed up to work after a few drinks before. Like, the guy's good at what he does. If he can function, I don't give a hell damn if you give him a Busch Light up there while he's hosting it, popping a top. Let him do it, you know. I bet Vanna White said she had a few cocktails before she got up there. Nobody had said a whole lot about it.
No one would have said a thing. But no, I'm with you. Like, Pat Sajak doing it. Or that would make it even better. Every time someone gives you a dumbass answer, take a shot.
Okay, I will have to say, I've completely forgot about this and I've spaced. When we're talking about the sound effects of this being on point, I felt like this game had who's the craziest cousin you got. I mean, I think Cousin Eddie off Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I mean, like family member?
Yeah.
Actual family member?
Yeah, the craziest SOB you've got in your family. It's probably your cousin, you know.
It's probably me, to be honest.
All right, well, so the part that I like...
All my other family members, they won't jump off of a bridge or go skydiving. I'm the one that done that.
So, well, if you're on this question and they're like, hey, name a number... And I'm just using this as an example. Name a number 1 through 10. Top 10 answers. And if I put Apple... When the sound effects would come in, they'd all start clapping, and you'd hear this one guy in the background that I would imagine was the crazy Eddie, the crazy Josh going, good answer.
Yeah.
And he'd go, and you know what? That is just like the game show. Like, these people will say the stupidest stuff on the actual TV show, and everybody's like, yeah,
good answer.
And I'm like, you are an idiot. And your whole family are idiots for thinking that was a good. I feel like it's that part in Billy Madison where he's like, I feel dumber for hearing your answer.
Well, I mean.
But that sound effect would be like, great answer, good answer. It's like when I heard that, I knew I was getting a strike because they were like,
same here. And that also brings it up to the one of the latest episodes of Family Feud with Steve Harvey. Is he had the people of Jackass on there, and on Johnny Knoxville's team, someone gave a stupid answer, and instead of saying good answer, he pulled out a taser and tased them and went, "That's a dumb answer." I mean, I'm with you. That's how it should be.
All right, Josh. So that's all I got to wrap. So this game we're going to wrap up. We're going to throw out some fun facts and some price charting. So what do you want first?
Let's go with fun facts. I like it, because with these fun facts, it feels like I haven't yet, but I'm going to dial in one day.
Well, I will go ahead and tell you. Here is the first thing I marked down when I was looking for fun facts or any trivia. They're dang hard to find on Family Feud. Because it's been around so long and so many people like it. Just Google Family Feud trivia. You're getting all kinds of... You're getting
pages.
You're getting the game show itself. You're getting the questions. You're not... Like, you're getting all the games. Like, when you type in trivia... They're trying to explain to you, you'll find 100 pages right off the bat of them trying to explain to you how they come up with their questions and how the audiences are polled. And so then when you're looking up fun facts, it was just pretty frustrating. I mean, you couldn't find a whole lot on the video game because the TV show was so popular. So I've got a little bit of fun facts about the actual game show.
Okay, I'm fine.
Because that was way easier to find than anything about the game, in particular this version. So I think probably other than Steve Harvey, I remember growing up with Richard Dawson being the guy. Like I think he came from Match Game. He was, just Playboy game show extraordinary. He was like the James Bond of the game show circuit. He was actually, I think, in Running Man. As a game show host of Running Man. And so one thing that Richard Dawson was known for that he would get blown up today, and probably a little bit back then, was he kissed every single female guest on there.
I do know that. I do know that.
And he said here was the reason why he kissed them. To calm them down.
Yeah.
So
bullshit.
I'll just go ahead and tell you how badass mofo you get. How much, what do they call it? Swagger? Drip? Confidence? That you just walking in here and you like, sip a town, girl. smooching up on him. I'm like,
just to calm him down. That's bullshit.
I bet you that Richard Dawson loved nobody more
than
Richard Dawson loved himself. So he literally kissed from, it didn't matter, young contestants, old contestants, your granny, your mama, your wife, your girlfriend, your sister. He's got a smooch on.
Yeah.
Now, it ain't like he's sliding no tongue, but
it was still a kiss.
Now, I will say some of these women, I remember them coming up excited about a Richard Dawson kiss. So if Richard Dawson's doing all this smooching around just to calm him down, the other fun fact that I didn't know was Richard Dawson ended up marrying one of his contestants that was on his show.
Really?
And of course, he kissed her on the show. Apparently, that before the show was over, he actually had got exchanged numbers, and they said on the show it was pretty obvious the flirtation, and she actually ghosted him on his first 2 phone calls he sent to her because she was getting her teeth pulled, or she had like some kind of procedure done on her teeth.
So she was high on pills.
Yeah, probably. And so like he was about to give up, and finally got a hold of her, flew her out to like California. Power move there.
Of course, power move.
You know, took her on a date, and as weird as it goes, the lore, what they had on their date was nothing but beef Wellington. So that was an expensive date. Like, I'm pretty sure Playboy sealed the deal there, married this woman. So that's just, you kiss him to calm him down, or you just kissing him to pat the stats, you know? I don't know.
I think you're kissing on the pat stats. And also, if he was... Now, here's the question. Was he looking... Did he use that as a dating show? Because was he married at the time? Or was he just like, you know what? I'm just going to see what happens.
I think in true Boondock Saints quote was, he's like 7-Eleven. You know, the lights might not always be on, but he's always doing business. I think that's how Richard Dawson is, and you know, you let a player play. Now, we're just going to go ahead and throw in a little bit more Dawson trivia, and then because it brings on 2 more questions, and then the one nugget that I bet you don't know. I didn't know this. Well, I didn't know any of these, to be honest, other than Richard Dawson smooching on the ladies.
I did know that one.
So Richard Dawson was having issues with management. You know, it wasn't necessarily just kissing the ladies, but you know, he had, you know, political stuff he's bringing in with Nixon, a whole lot. And Richard Dawson is making his money. He's like, I'm going to do what I want. So Family Feud was looking at hiring some other people to come in and host the show. So they were looking at getting some celebrities that are out there. I mean, Richard Dawson was a pretty big celebrity back then. So they wanted to bring in a big name. And one of the big names that they had, basically on the hook, they had a contract for him, but he got cold feet before he signed the contract and backed out. Was none other than Broadway Joe Namath. And they said, and I'll go ahead and tell you, if you think Richard Dawson was killing some ladies,
yeah,
Joe Namath, you do not bring no woman to that show.
They leaving pregnant.
Yes, they are. Like, it is. So he literally was going to be the guy, and he backed out. So then another person, we're from Tennessee. Who do you think's probably one of the most famous people of all time from Tennessee?
Dolly
Parton. Dolly Parton was offered the job as well. She had immediately turned it down. Like, and she does that even to this day. Like, you know, whether it's College Game Day guest picker or what. You know,
yeah, she
doesn't draw it like.
She doesn't do anything like that type of caliber.
So then the final thing I have for trivia for the actual game show that I didn't know is you can win up to $20,000 per episode.
Okay.
And you get to come back each day that you win, I think, for a total of 5 days. But once you hit $100,000, if you win the max amount and you hit $100K, they ban your family for 10 years.
Let's say, are you banned for life at that point?
Which is a little weird because you would think 100 grand isn't a whole lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean,
it'd be nice to have.
Life-changing money. I mean, it ain't going to change your whole lifestyle, but it's going to make your life improved.
Yeah.
And they did have a lot of facts about how long it takes to get your money, and I think there's like 90, 180 day holding period on the money. But basically,
they're like,
hey, you win you 100K, we'll see you next century. You know, they're like, don't come back.
Next decade.
Yeah, that's what next decade. I tell you, don't let me do these numbers, Josh. Don't let me do these numbers. So that's all I had, because literally trying to find anything about this specific game against the hundreds, it seems like, of other Family Feud games and all the shows, it was just mind-numbing trying to find it. So I just thought those were kind of
those are some good facts.
I mean, Richard Dawson, I think, you know, I like Steve Harvey, but I think Richard Dawson brought just enough swagger to it to really get it on the map. And I remember Combs. He was good too. I think that's the one I grew up as a kid watching was Combs. But,
I think the reason why Steve Harvey's he's so iconic is because it's modern day answers.
Well, I think
and it's just his expressions.
Yeah, he does have the best facial expressions. Plus, I think back in the day you were very supportive, and in today's day and age you're more ridiculing. And so I think everybody back in the day would have to say, "Hell yeah, that is a good answer." Now Steve Harvey's like, "That was not a good answer."
You asked on YouTube.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm glad you're pretty because your husband didn't marry you because you're smart." You know what it is.
Also, like I said, I think if you go back and look at some of the older Family Feud stuff, the questions were more like you were almost guaranteed a wholesome answer. Like some of Steve Harvey's questions are a little risque with some of the questions that they asked the polls. So, I think that's what makes the newer Family Feud more entertaining in the long run is because the questions are a little bit more risque, and you also got Steve Harvey that just does not care.
And they did say that the ones that they got, of course, the people who answered the polls, they did say that none of them knew what they were answering polls for. They did also say there wasn't no age limit to contestants you could bring on, but I guess it was kind of like an unspoken rule that
above 18,
above 15,
above 15.
So. Now, with all that being said, that wraps up any trivia, I guess, of the show. You could go on. There's so much. But we're going to talk about pricing, Josh.
Okay. I'm all right with pricing. Let's do this. I don't know how well I'm going to do, but...
Well, it's a Game Tech cart. At the end of the day, I thought it was a pretty good game. You've got loose, complete, and new copies. So the loose copy of this, there's plenty of them out there, a lot produced. What would you say a loose copy is, Josh?
A loose copy of this game, I would go with a solid $12.
Pretty good guess. Pretty good to guess. You're high.
Really?
Yeah. So price charting shows this loose at $5.79. eBay, after shipping and stuff, $8 to $10. So, you call the happy medium $8.
Yeah.
I think you're good with that. There is worse games for $8, that you could buy. So, I don't think you're going to go wrong at that price. Now, complete in box, what do you think one goes for?
A complete in box one with the loose copy, or the loose copy being that much. I would say probably about I'd go with 31.
You're still a little hot, brother.
Really?
Yeah. Now, like I say, I would imagine a lot of this is there's a lot of copies printed. It's kind of like a sports game, I would imagine. And I would think that there wasn't a whole lot of production value put into it because it was mostly the questions.
It was mass produced.
So, complete in box price charting, I thought was considerably low. They had it at $14.95. What I seen on eBay, what was selling the past 90 days after shipping all is about $25.
Okay.
So, one of the cheaper games that we came up to.
That is.
That thing's got a crisp plastic seal across it, Josh. It's brand new. What do you think that's going to cost you, brother?
I want to say, at the rate we're going, I'm going to say 75 to 80.
Way high.
What?
Way high.
Really?
Try again, brother.
Let's go with, I guess, 40.
You pretty much hit it right in the middle. Price charting showed it at $34.82. Now, there wasn't a whole lot on eBay that had sold. We're in 2022.
Yeah.
Coming on 2023. Not a whole lot of. I would imagine that they're not making new Super Nintendo games, so the stock goes down. I was seeing what was coming out was about $45 on eBay.
Okay.
Once again, very strange. Seems like a lot of sellers were from Canada. I don't understand. The Canadians love their Jeopardy. They love.
The Jeopardy is explainable because Alex Trebek was Canadian.
Right. Well,
where was
one of the hosts? I don't know. I bet Dawson hooked up with a Canadian, and that was probably. I don't know. But
where was Dawson from?
I don't know.
I'm looking it up right now.
You come back. I bet you he's from like freaking Chicago.
From Chicago?
No, I bet he's from Kentucky. I think he's from the great state of Kentucky.
Dude, we way off.
Where?
Dude's from Go Sport, United Kingdom.
I don't even know what to say to that.
And, okay, hang on. His spouses. I'm assuming...
I'm sure he had
Gretchen Johnson was the one that he married off of the game show.
How long did that marriage last?
Until 2012.
Well, damn. I guess maybe he just found the right one. I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, Josh, so we're saying price charting's 5, eBay's 8 to 10. Let's just go on the high end. If you ran into this cartridge and we said, hey, you can either have this cartridge for $10 or I'll give you $5 cash, which would you take?
I take, honestly, the cartridge on this one.
And that's at the high point. If I said $8 cartridge or a $4 cash, I'd probably take the cartridge too.
Yeah, I'm taking the cartridge on
this one. Just from down there, I mean, you go to like an escape room and it takes an hour and they're going to charge you $20, $40 a person. You go bowling, it's going to be $20 a person. We literally sat down here, 3 of us, for an hour playing this game, completely entertained. I think everybody left in a great mood. I won multiple times, so I was in an awesome mood. But
I was still a little heated,
a little salty. But I feel like it was like, man, that was just a good freaking game. And
it was entertaining.
And if you told me that it entertained all 3 of us for $10, I'd take that as a freaking win. And to be honest, if you said, hey, I bought a brand new copy of this for $45, a sealed Super Nintendo copy for $45,
that's still a great deal.
It is a great deal. It's not going to get any cheaper. So it's only going to grow.
I got an idea. Next year's fantasy football, this is how we determine who wins. We do matches of Family Feud. That's how we choose the draft pick.
Well, it would be accurate to Family Feud because there's a lot of idiots in our fantasy football.
Exactly.
But, I do not think that would go over, but I can see where you're coming from on this. So I guess to finally wrap it all up, I mean, I'm just going to say it. I thought it was a great game.
I enjoyed it. I highly enjoyed this game.
So I ain't got nothing bad to say about it. It's a good game. You're not going to be disappointed unless you just absolutely hate Family Feud. So we're going to run down the list here.
To make it for me, if I had a mini that we could play this on at the house, I think me and my wife would have played it and we would have enjoyed it.
I bet that if there's a version on PS4 or Xbox,
there is,
where you can update the questions or on your phone or the PC game like we used to play, I bet it would just be so much more fun.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I think that would be a good point. I may actually try to look that up just to see.
And one thing that they did say about the 15-year-old was kind of the unspoken rule was because they do have a few more adult questions, but I don't think in any of the video games those questions come out. So, like, I think it is like playing any one of the Family Feud games that I've ever played. You can bring a whole family in, and I can guarantee even when somebody says they don't want to play, and if they read the question and the timer comes on, they'll probably holler out an answer.
The newest Family Feud game was for the PS4, and it came out in 2020.
I bet that's a banger of a game.
It's $10 on the Play Store.
All right, so we're coming up on game number 9, Josh. We're about to have our first top 10. So I'm just going to let you tell me where you think you're going to fall on this. So your previous ranking, we're going to run 1 through 8 pretty quick, starting at number 1. You go Super Putty, Jeopardy Sports, Fatal Fury, Roger Clemens Baseball, No Escape, Dragon View, Kid Cleats, and Obidus. Do you think Family Feud was better than Obidus at the bottom?
Of course.
Do you think it was better than Super Putty at the top?
I do.
Oh, wow. You are so you're telling me that Family Feud is your number 1.
Family Feud is number 1.
The survey says number 1 answer for Josh.
Ding, 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 ding. Just because it was so fun. It had such a party feel. And that's something that you really didn't get on a lot of games and on the Super Nintendo. Like I said, you had a few party games that you could do that with. You know, you had, I guess you could classify Mario Kart as a party game since it was up to 2 players. And I think it was also one of the ones that
it could have been up to 20 players, depending on how you wanted to represent
it. It could be. But I do think that Mario Kart was one of the ones that you could have added the the multi-link to, and you could actually go out to 4 players, if I'm not mistaken. So this one here actually felt like a party game.
Okay, well that's pretty bold. Number 1 on the list, and I know you were really digging Super Putty. Now Jeopardy Sports, I was surprised. I wouldn't have ever put Super Putty over Jeopardy Sports like you did, but coming down 3 at Fatal Fury, now I was lesser on Fatal Fury than you, so I see where you come from. I was just shocked that, Super Putty was that first face on Mount Rushmore, but even though this might be Dawson or Combs, I think you just put Steve Harvey's face on Mount Rushmore.
I did. But no, it's honestly because of the fact that it was such a fun party-style game. It was highly entertaining the entire time. Even some of the things that were the worst parts about it, the clapping was still funny. It still brought joy. It was still entertaining.
You're right. So my top 8 as we set, going 1 from 8, is Jeopardy Sports, Dragon View, No Escape, Super Putty, Fatal Fury, Kid Cleats, Obidus, and Roger Clemens Baseball. So I feel like I've went a little soft here because I've been thinking, after playing some of these other games, I think Dragon View got done a little dirty because it was like our first game, I believe it was. And so we've played some games that was obviously far worse than it. So even though Jeopardy Sports, I think is, to me, better than Dragon View. Dragon View, I just couldn't get past not explaining what I really had to do. That's what I couldn't get past.
Yeah.
And Roger Clemens Baseball, I still think was bad. But then I'm sitting here thinking about it. Was Obis really, it was really bad too. Would I rather play Obis or Roger Clemens? So when we come down to a re-rank, I've got to gut check myself.
I do too. I got to say, I definitely have to gut my... I thought hard about mine.
I don't think that I'm jumping people from like 7 to 2, but I feel like the 7, 8, go in one spot. And so right here, Family Feud, I enjoyed it. And I do think it was better than No Escape at number 3. And I'm sitting here thinking, if I had to play, this is where I got to gut check myself. By default, I enjoyed it more than Dragon View, what I played of it. But I played way less than I did Dragon View. So by default, I'm thinking if I'm picking the number 2 game, it is Family Feud. But if I have to play 10 hours of Family Feud, I'm probably going to like Dragon View more.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put Family Feud at number 3 just because I felt like I did Dragon View a little dirty. And I'm going to cut the difference. I'm going to put Jeopardy at number 1. I'm going to sandwich Dragon View in between Family Feud, like a Dragon View sandwich with Family Feud.
Okay, that's understandable because, like I said, we're not playing these games to completion. So I get what you're saying.
I mean, we try, but sometimes it's a retro game. Well, some of the games are sons of bitches, to be honest, as well. So, and the other games I wasn't high on. I mean, it wasn't really a question. It was in the top 3. It was on Mount Rushmore. But, when we get down to the top 10, we're going to have a re-rank episode where we can pick a few, and then we get to make fun of everybody, or make fun of your picks and vice versa. Or maybe we bring in a third person to basically make us defend our answers on where we're at. I'm not sure when we're going to do that, but we're basically coming up on episode number 10 next week, Josh. And just going to throw this out here. What do you think is going to happen first? We've played 3 Amiga games. Are we going to get a 4th Amiga game before this is the 2nd game in a row we played that is 2 words that starts with F. We played Fatal Fury, Family Feud. Do you think we're going to get another Amiga game first, or another game that has 2 F's in it, like Final Fight? I don't know. Just thinking about Final Fantasy. So this is a legitimate question. Are we going to be the wheel of 2 F words, or are we going to be the wheel of Amiga? I feel like we're the wheel of Amiga.
I was about to say, I have a feeling we'll get an Amiga game.
All right, well, we're going to find out here in just a few minutes. We're going to roll us another game, but I think that pretty much wraps up Family Feud, don't you, Josh?
I do, too.
All right, well, we're going to head out. It's George signing out.
This is Josh. See you later.